We are going to make a large 12-inch bonsai pot out of white stoneware. We have 8 pounds of clay here, ready to go, and we're going to center it up together. So this bonsai pot is going to be 12 inches wide by 2 inches tall. So let's center this up by pushing from 2 different angles straight into the center, going from our top right and our bottom left, pushing all this clay up towards the middle. Once you get all the way to the top, we push straight back down from our bottom right, guiding it straight back down into our left hand. Down. And take this slowly all the way back down. There we go. Now once we're centered, we're just going to flatten this out. We're just going to apply pressure from this bottom right quarter, flattening this entire piece out. There we go. Straight in from the center all the way out. There we go. Just going to open it up a little bit, flattening it out even more. Now I want to leave the base about 1 inch tall so that we can do some trimming, get a nice thick foot when we're done. So right here we're opening it up, and this whole bat is a good measurement for the 12 inches that we need to create. So we're going to stretch this all the way to the edge of the bat. Starting always from the center, working our way out to the edges. Right now we're just going to spend a couple of minutes really compressing our base here. This pushes all the clay particles together so we don't get any type of cracking. We want it nice and flat. Got a little more water here. We're going to slow this down. Pull our clay all the way out to the edge. I'm going to take all this clay that we left on the edge and just softly push it in towards the center. Compress our rim. This will be a good starting spot for a pull, so we can pull up our side wall. Let's go ahead and grab some clay from the bottom here, and we're pushing all of our clay in towards the middle, keeping it concave until we've reached our desired height. And then every time we get to the top, we're just going to compress the lip. There we go. I'm going to bring this all the way out to the edge of the bat. Let's see how far we can get it. Just going to push this in a little bit, keep it a little concave. What I want to do here is make sure that we have a nice foot right at the bottom, just a little bevel underneath the piece. This way our wire tool can come right underneath of it. Let's come in with our sponge. Give it one more nice pull straight up. Straightening out our wall here. Get up to the top. We're going to keep a little bit of a bulge on the inside to help with our soil. There we go. Just give it a good look. Really shape it up. You want it to be nice and straight. All right, let's add a little spiral on the inside of our pot, just for fun. Start right in the center. Slowly move our fingers all the way to the edge. Nice. That looks really good to me. We're gonna come in with our wire tool now and slice this right off. So holding our wire tool taut right at the bottom, gonna come in all the way around the whole piece, straight through the bottom, all the way to the other side in one swift motion. We're going to put this aside and let it dry until it's about leather hard, so it won't be malleable anymore, and then we'll be able to flip it upside down and trim the bottom, add a nice deep foot, and be able to create the holes in the center of the bonsai pot as well. We have our bonsai pot here dried out till it's leather hard. It took about 3 to 4 days for that to happen. We kept it covered up so it could dry slowly. We have it flipped upside down. What we're going to do now is trim the bottom, and we're going to add feet onto the sides. So we're going to add a coil around the whole piece, throw a little foot, and decorate it. The last thing we're going to do is put 3 drainage holes in the bottom. I'm going to take our loop tool and just trim away slowly down the whole wall from the top to the bottom. We're just going to make this wall as straight as possible. I'm just using this tool here as well. It's a little cork that we have that applies pressure on a wider surface area. So I'm not just applying a little tiny bit of pressure right in the center. It distributes it a little bit better, keeping the piece nice and sturdy. Now we're going to smooth out the top area here before we attach our coil. So let's go right from the center, create a nice spiral all the way over. There we go. I'm just going to run a wet sponge across this entire thing. So kind of even out any additional trimming lines that were left behind and show us if there's any imperfections that we need to address right now. What we're going to do next is attach our coil around the whole rim here to create a foot. I'm just going to go around the whole edge, score this up. It doesn't need to be perfect. We're just going to create lots of serrations for our slip to attach our coil. There we go. Around the whole thing. Nice. Now we're going to add our slip, which is just water and clay mixed together. It acts as our glue. So we just use some from our reclaim bucket right here. We're going to add more than you think you need. You want it to really get into all of the spaces that we just created. There we go. And what we're going to do now is just score this coil all the way along one side, and then we're going to attach this to our edge. So just starting at one spot, I'm just going to pinch it together, press down, and get this glue into all the serrations that we just created, all these scoring spots. Just gonna go back around, wiggle, press this down, make sure all that slip is deep in those scoring marks that we created. I'm going to go around the inside here and just press this coil straight into the piece itself, blending it together. All right, once we've gotten the whole thing blended together, we're going to do a small throw and just use our sponge and some water, get this foot nice and clean. So I'm just pushing down on the rim, pushing this coil into the piece itself, and cleaning up the edges. and then pinching up to shape the foot in the way that we want it to be. We do want to go in next and just cut out little ridges so this foot looks nice. And what we're going to do is mark them out. So I'm going to use a straight edge here just to find exactly where we want to kind of cut away our foot. So I'm going to go looking in the center and create a few marks. Start with an X. Just perforating the sides here. And then I'm going to take each one of these and cut them in half as well. So let's find the center here, right there, and then one more on the side. Doesn't need to be perfect, we just want it to look pretty even on each side. And then we're going to take a wire tool and slowly just carve away a little curved foot on each of these. So the ones that I'm going to take away are going to be this one, let's see, every other one. So I just want to mark it so I know where we're cutting. Those are the ones we're going to cut. All right, I'm going to hold this wire tool nice and taut, and we're going to come in from one edge to the other one and just slowly carve away a little foot. We can do this on all four. You can decorate your foot however you like. This is just how we like to do it. So I'm going to go through here and just smooth out all the edges. Any sharp lines we may have created with our wire tool, any crumbs left behind. Just smooth them out with our sponge. Let's add our drainage holes. I'm just going to use this cup to shape out, perforate our holes. So I want them to be equal distance from each other. There we go. Let's give it a good look and make sure they look nice. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to use an X-Acto knife here and just carve away these big circles for drainage. Bonsais need a lot of drainage. All the way around. Nice. Just pop that right down in there. And just pop that down in. You can come through with a sponge and just clean up all of these edges. Round out this circle. All right, the last thing we're going to do here is put our stamp right in the center. So we have our bronze casted stamp with our logo on it, and it sits in a little bit of baby powder just to create a little non-slip area. We're going to stamp this right in the center. Just press down firmly, and you can brace underneath of it if you need to. Just press down and rock it back and forth. There we go. We are going to let this piece dry really slowly until it's bone dry. It'll probably take it about a week because it is a large piece. It's pretty thick. So we want to keep the drying process really slow to prevent any cracking. Once the piece is completely bone dry, we're going to bring it to the kiln and fire it with the rest of our work in a bisque kiln. We have our bonsai pot fresh out of the kiln from our bisque kiln, the first firing. So it is porous, it's hard, it's not malleable anymore. So what we're going to do now is dip this into our green glaze. We already went ahead and waxed the bottom, so we used a purple wax to have a resist layer anywhere we don't want glaze. So we did the whole bottom, the feet, a little bit on the edge, and then the center. This is our forest green glaze. We do make all of our glazes from scratch and we sell them on our website, swancityceramics.com. They're all food safe, dishwasher, and microwave safe. So I just want to make sure this is nice and stirred up here. And we're going to dip our bonsai pot right into this glaze. So I just want to create a nice rotation here and get an even coat along. Perfect. Let that set up for a minute and then do one more layer of that. The way around. Nice. And we're just going to let this dry for another minute or two and then wipe off the bottom areas where any of the glaze is beading up where we used our wax resist. Let's just go through and wipe off any areas that have a little extra glaze. We'll flip it over, check the bottom. Anywhere we put the wax resist, the glaze which just beads up, makes it a lot easier to wipe off. Also creates a nice sharp line where we want to finish our glaze, right on the edge. Now that we've glazed our piece, we're going to go put this into our kiln, our electric kiln. It's going to get fired at cone 6 along with the rest of our work. It'll be done in about 24 hours for us. We finally have our finished, completed 12-inch bonsai pot fresh out of the kiln. This thing came out so nice. I'm super happy with it. We glazed it in our forest green glaze and it got these amazing thick drips right on the edge. Our forest green glaze on this pot came out so nice. It dripped in all the right spots and it broke around the top to create a nice brown tinge. It must have been in a really good spot in the kiln to come out this nice. It has a blue shimmer underneath of it and the small brown specks. I really enjoy that on this piece. It doesn't always come out looking exactly the same. This one came out really fire. After everything that we went through to throw and trim and glaze this pot, now that it's finally done, there's only one thing left to do, and it's to go out back and plant a tree into this pot. So we do have a silk floss tree that's 2.5 years in the making. It's the perfect size for this guy. So let's go out right now and do it together. But these are our silk floss bonsai trees. So Nick did grow these from seed. He found this seed floating down when we were at Disney Animal Kingdom and ended up propagating it, and it grew into a large tree and then broke in half. So this actually was one tree. Broke in half, made 2 little bonsais. So we're gonna start planting by adding little mesh pieces onto the drainage holes here. This will help keep the dirt in, but also let the water flow through. So let's just cover that up with some dirt. All right, we're gonna pull this guy out, keep all the roots that we can. Find a good position for him in here and add some dirt around it. We're gonna keep it on an angle here and grow him sidewards. So let's get him kind of compressed right there. Add dirt all the way around him. We're gonna put as much dirt as we can in here and pack it super tight. We're gonna leave this on an angle and the branches will straighten themselves up towards the sun in time. We have some old wood with moss on it that we're gonna add underneath our tree. We're gonna add them like right here. We have some small pebbles here that we're gonna add to the top of our pot and pack them in. We did it, guys. We made this bonsai pot and planted our own little silk floss tree inside of it. This thing is gonna flourish over the next few years. We also have our 4-inch bonsai pot here. We glazed this one in our purple quartz, which is our honey, and our pink opal on top of each other. This one's super cute. It's got one large drainage hole underneath. It has 4 rimmed feet right at the bottom as well. So we did plant a silk floss tree into this guy too. This one we actually found in our neighborhood, so we propagated it from seed right from a tree down our street. It's been in here for a few months and it's super happy. We have it on this dramatic curve and we just absolutely love it. But once it grows larger, we're gonna upgrade it to our 8-inch bonsai pot, and then eventually it's gonna go into our big 12-inch bonsai pot. Just like this large silk floss tree we have here. Super excited about these silk floss trees in our bonsai pots. Alright guys, we did it. We made this pot together. You saw us throw it, trim it, glaze it, and pot our little silk floss tree right inside of him. So if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell so you know when we go live next.